Hi, this is JJ with Electro-Harmonix, and this is the Super Pulsar, a stereo tap tremolo that has lots of cool features, including rhythms and presets. So without further ado, let's dig right in. In this next example, I'll let you hear one of the rhythms, my favorite rhythm from the pedal, the Bo Diddley Groove, and that is actually the first rhythm that you'll come across in the pedal. And by the way, you can program your own rhythms in the Super Pulsar and store them on the unit. For this next example, I've selected the rhythm that you will find in the 3 o'clock position of the shape control, and I've pressed the wave invert to flip the waveform around to create a different rhythm. Alright, let's take a closer look at the Super Pulsar. Visually, what strikes the most is probably the Knight Rider lights, as I like to call them. And these are a visual representation of what the tremolo effect is doing. So right now, you see that it's a pretty straight ahead tremolo sound, but when you're in rhythm mode, you see a visual representation of the rhythm. Also, these lights double as preset lights. When you're in preset mode, you can do that by holding this middle foot switch for 2 seconds. There are 8 presets for you to work with, and you can also make your own sounds and store them in these 8 slots. Then you can tell in which slot you are at that moment. Okay, so it's got 3 foot switches: bypass, the mode preset foot switch, and a tap tempo foot switch. It's got stereo ins and outs, and it's got an external expression pedal input, and you can use an expression pedal to control either of these 5 parameters: rate, depth, shape, phase, or volume. And you can also relocate the tap foot switch by means of this input, so you can put the pedal maybe on the back row of your pedal board, and you can move the tap switch to the front row where you can reach it more easily. It's got a volume control, which is great to compensate for any perceived volume drop, and you can also push the front end of the amp a little bit with that. The right phase adjusts the phase of the right output when you're using the pedal in stereo, and you can adjust the phase from 0 to 360 degrees. Rate and depth are pretty standard controls on any tremolo unit, so you will also find them on this pedal, of course. And you can also set the tempo by tapping the foot switch or by using the rate control, and each one will overrule the other. Okay? Now, in order to understand fully what the shape and wave controls do, let me just tell you what the duty cycle of a tremolo effect is. The duty cycle is basically how long the guitar sound is heard, and not the silent parts. So a short duty cycle is going to give you very short snippets of guitar and longer silent parts, and the longer duty cycle is going to give you longer guitar and shorter silent parts. Now, especially when you use the wave control to set it to square wave, which you do like this, in the center position, it's just straight ahead square wave. But when I move it clockwise, it's going to give me a longer duty cycle. So you hear longer guitar bits, shorter silent bits. When I take it counterclockwise, it's going to have the opposite effect. So a shorter duty cycle. Now if I put the unit into triangle wave mode, which you do like this, this control behaves a little differently. That's just the regular triangle wave. This is going to result in a rising sawtooth. Or a falling sawtooth if you put the control clockwise. And it works the same way in the sine wave mode. Okay, now if I take the wave control and take it past 12 o'clock, I'm in rhythm mode, and then this sweep of the wave control controls the duty cycle of the rhythms. And then this is basically your rhythm selector. Now I'll show you the tap divide button. As I said, the Super Pulsar has tap tempo, so I can just tap a tempo with my foot or with my hand. 1, 2, 3, 4. And if I play, the pedal will give me back exactly what I tapped. Now with the tap divide button, I can turn what I tapped into dotted eighth notes, triplets, eighth notes, eighth note triplets, or 16th notes. So right now I should get just my tap tempo only doubled to 16th notes. If I hit the button again, all of the LEDs are lit. That's 32nd notes. Really trippy. The Super Pulsar also has an envelope follower. There are two mini dials over here, one for envelope depth and one for envelope rate. Right now I'll show you what the envelope depth can do for you. I've got this nice overdriven amplifier, which is perfect for blues rock guitar playing, and I've dialed up this tremolo sound for my rhythm playing, just to give it some movement, but I do not want the tremolo effect to be there when I play lead. Okay, so what I'll do is I'll just dial back on the envelope depth, put that at like 10 o'clock, and that means that that it is going to subtract from this knob setting on the depth. So that means when I play hard on the guitar, the effect is not going to be there, but when the note decays or when I play really gently, it's going to be there. So there you have it, the Super Pulsar by Electro-Harmonix. For more information, go to ehx.com. Signing off, jan-jaap.